I'm starting out with some dots in the center, doing some simple cheese strokes with more concentrated paint. I'm rinsing out my brush, and then I'm going to pull out some of that color with the water that I have on my brush. It's not soaking wet, it's just damp. I'm using the tip of my brush, pressing down the belly and going back to the tip and forming these C-stroke petals. Sometimes I'm wiggling my brush to give myself nice variety on the petals. I'm going to go in with a more concentrated color here. And I'm going to touch that in to give myself some different values on these roses and some depth. For my green, I'm going to use some Purine green for my leaves. I also have a little bit of sap green mixed with green gray, and I'm touching that in here as well, giving myself some variegation, letting that bleed and blend a little bit. And this was more of a wet on dry. I did a little bit of wet on wet with the color bleed on there. For this English rose, we're doing wet on wet, so I'm starting out with just water on my brush. I did tinge it with a little bit of pink, so hopefully you can see it a little bit easier. I'm going in with some of that quadricone rose. It's more concentrated. I'm touching that into the center of the flower, adding a little bit more here, and then I'm adding this into that outer part of those wet petals to let that bleed into the center, touching in more and more color as I feel like it's needed and I want more spread and blend. And giving that a second to kind of see how it's coming together. I added a little bit of quadricone gold in there. You can see how pushy that color is, but it's absolutely beautiful with the quadricone rose. I used some Purine green mixed with a little bit of yellow gray. I think it's a Winsor Newton yellow gray. I love it mixed with my greens. I let that dry a little bit more, and then I'm just touching in some more of that concentrated quadricone rose just to give myself a little bit more depth and shape on that. For these miniature roses, we're starting out with some little dots, same as we did that other rose, some small C-strokes. We rinse out our brush completely. We take the damp brush and we pull that color down to make a little rosebud here. And we're going to add some little simple stems and leaves to this. We're keeping it small because that rosebud is small. We want to keep it proportionate. It's one thing you want to keep in mind when you're painting a little bit is trying to keep it realistic by keeping things proportional. I'm going to add in another one here, and then I just touched in some leaves and a couple buds as well. These small roses are a great filler for your watercolor pieces. I hope you enjoyed these different styles, a little bit of wet on wet, a little bit of wet on dry. Practice these roses, have fun, happy painting. As always, I'll see you next time. I'm starting out with some dots in the center, doing some simple cheese strokes with more concentrated paint. I'm rinsing out my brush, and then I'm going to pull out some of that color with the water that I have on my brush. It's not soaking wet, it's just damp. I'm using the